My name's Kristy Sevag with Sevag Public Relations. I have with me Scott Brehman, who is the principal for Mainline Rebuild. So Scott, tell me a little bit about Mainline Rebuild and how it differs from all the other builders in the area.
Well, Kristy, Mainline Rebuild was formed only a couple months ago out of its predecessor, Mainline Realty Investors. Mainline Realty Investors was formed several years ago with the mandate to acquire properties up and down the main line in need of significant renovation, restoration, and or repositioning from a zoning standpoint in the marketplace. There are three principals, Mac or Evelyn Brand. She is in charge of finding sites that would fit the company's mandate. Once we get control of those properties, having the ability to take that project through the municipal approval. Once that is complete, handing it over to the other two principals, myself, Scott Brehman, and Tom Harvey, to implement the development plan.
So now we are sitting in one of your most recent projects called Narberth Place, and tell me about this giant undertaking.
We are incredibly excited about this opportunity. Unfortunately, the Narberth Methodist Church closed several years ago. There was a community theater here, a food bank, as well as a senior center that was currently was occupying the church building here. It was decided to sell the property, and I believe there were 6 bidders for the project. Most of the other bidders were going to remove the structures here. And the site exists of a large 1929 stone church, as well as a large single-family dwelling called the Barry House. We saw this as an opportunity to renovate these structures and convert them to condominium units. And it is just an unbelievable opportunity to work with these structures that obviously were zoned and used for another use. Right. And to work with a talented staff at JTA Associates, our architectural firm, to come up with a design that we think is just fabulous.
Walk me through when a potential home buyer even comes visit the site, when they decide that this is the spot for them. They're in love, so tell me what happens next.
Well, we think our process is a little unique in the marketplace. Once Craig Brand is our listing agent with Berkshire Hathaway, Craig will handle the initial interest from the buyer. If there is a greater level of interest, I will get involved and I will interact with the buyer to essentially walk them through the process of understanding what they're getting into and handling the buyer through the agreement of sale process. One of the things that we think is unique is that the buyer will have the opportunity to customize all of the interior finishes of their unit. That would involve going to the individual vendors that we work with. We would start with cabinetry, Sterling Cabinetry out in Malvern. And I have set the spec or the outline of each of the units from a cabinetry standpoint. We have designed the kitchens and the bathrooms. And we have chosen a cabinet and a finish. We are providing all craft-made cabinetry, a very large national company with a tremendous reputation. But as I say to my buyers, I'm not going to live in these units. So they have this opportunity to customize their cabinetry for the individual units. We then go to appliances, plumbing fixtures, lighting fixtures, granite and tile, ending up with custom closet systems and obviously paint and floor stain. This is unusual because most other developments offer you a very finite set of selections. We allow the buyer to completely customize these finishes.
That's wonderful. So parking in Narberth, especially on this street, is at a premium. But what's very unique about Narberth Place is all units have parking.
We'll start with the church building. The church building itself, working again with our structural engineer as well as with JTA, we came up with the concept of taking out one of the large stairwells that is almost at street grade with Essex Avenue. Removing that and then allowing the lowest level of the church, of which there are 4 levels in the church, to be dedicated strictly to parking. By somewhat dumb luck, we were able to get all 12 parking spaces for what will be 6 units contained in this lower level of the church. We move over to the Barry House. We will construct a 4-car detached garage adjacent to the side of the building. The 4 cars will be dedicated, 2 for each of the first floor and second floor units. Third floor will have parking on the site, just not contained within that garage structure. The new building, Volk Lane Manor, there are 3 units contained in there, and there will be 2-car parking for each of those 3 units attached to their individual unit. So what this achieves is all of the parking is visually off of the site.
So whoever is interested in these units definitely has a love for unusual living spaces, especially being that this structure was once a church. How did you and how are you planning on converting a once religious use structure into now residential living?
Well, that is, I have to say, one of the biggest things that we've had to combat is how do we take a large 27,000 square foot structure designed for one purpose and convert it into residential units. The neat thing here is that we did have a little bit of outdoor space, and using, again, the architect, we were able to capture those outdoor spaces in the form of, we're calling them city gardens, which will be very interesting, where 3 of the 6 units will have these city gardens or attached to their units. We also have some wonderful soaring spaces, ceiling heights, etc., that we're able to capture. One of the mandates that the borough was very firm on was density, and our target buyer was not looking for small spaces. So our 2-bedroom units, of which there are 4 of them, are quite large, averaging a little over 2,000 square feet each. We also have 2 incredible 3-bedroom units that are averaging mid 3,000s square feet each unit. One of the 3 bedrooms has the entire altar as their living room.
A buyer might be really interested in having stained glass in their unit, but might not want the religious aspects of that some of the stained glass has. What would you do for someone in that case?
Great question. It's one of the first questions that our buyers ask us when they come and visit the church. We worked very closely with the different representatives from the borough on exactly how to deal with the stained glass. The borough and the community really wanted to see the stained glass preserved. However, our buyers wanted to see, obviously, clear glass somewhere incorporated into the stained glass moving forward. What we have come up with is this pattern as our spec, where the perimeter of the stained glass would be kept as stained glass, whereas the center portion of the stained glass would be removed and replaced with clear glass. This is especially interesting when we get to one of the 3-bedroom units, which encompasses the altar. And there are 5 large stained glass windows in a pattern that the borough has allowed us to leave to the buyer's prerogative how they would like to treat that. Obviously, there's a lot of religious overtones currently in those 5 panels. At the buyer's prerogative, they could leave that, or they could incorporate this same design in those 5 panes of glass.